Check one, check two. I think I forgot to tag some stuff on Twitch. Let me check. Hello and welcome in, everybody. Facebook really needs to get their stuff together. Dum. How do I like... stream markers? Okay. All right, we're good. Hello, and welcome in. Good morning. It is Monday, October 11th, 8:57 in the morning. I know it's been a little while since I've had my last episode, but hey, I'm working on the podcast behind the scenes, working on a lot of things. And also I have school and football and stuff. So yeah, I'm busy. I'm a busy guy. Give me a break. All right. I go as live as much as I can. Every episode is live. I never, ever record an episode without going live. So yeah, every episode is uncut, unedited. And when I say uncut, unedited, I mean like I'm every once in a while I might have to cut out some dead space because I'm like looking something up. But other than that, I don't like cut out a conversation or sentences or topics. All right. Today I want to talk about something very it's very hard to like explain. Actually, it's not hard to explain. I have this thing where I want to challenge conservatives and people on the right, okay? And I say conservatives because I've realized that I don't really consider myself conservative. I do technically vote Republican, but I don't really consider myself conservative because I don't align my ideas with what most conservatives or quote conservatives would say that they align their ideals to. And particularly because I feel like conservatives have this misunderstood view of what freedom is. See, conservatives are on the side of pro First Amendment, pro gun, give me my guns, give me my freedom. But also conservatives are lumped in with Christians. And I'm a Christian, okay? And I want to be very careful how I talk about this because I don't want anybody to get misconstrued. I am a Christian. I'm a follower of Christ. But I want to be very clear of I'm going to talk about what conservatives view and what conservatives think. I'm going to tell you what I think and feel, and I'm going to talk to you about what if we're talking about freedoms for freedom's sake, about living in America, we got to understand what it means from the both conservatives and the Christians, and both non-conservatives and Christians, and following their ideals and what that looks like and what that means. Okay, so be patient, because this is gonna kind of talk. I'm mainly attacking conservatives today, and I'm not saying my fellow conservatives, because like I said, I over the recent years I don't really view myself as conservative. Okay, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you comment, make sure you follow on whatever platform you're listening on. That's the way we tickle the algorithm and get people to know what we're doing here. And if you would like to support the show, whether it's monetarily or, supporting the show is just, interacting with it. But if you would like to support and donate to the show, feel free to do so. You can go to the anchor.com link. I'm going to post it. I'll put it on the Facebook comment right here. It's anchor.fm/JJ's live show, and you can donate like 99 cents a month or $5 a month or whatever amount. Feel free to do that. All donations go to improving the show as a whole, and eventually we will be doing community givebacks. Okay, so conservatives talk about freedom, and they talk about being able to do what we want and when we want, because this is America. And they go back to, we founded America, or America was founded based on being able to practice your own religion, not being taxed. And we went to war, Revolutionary War, because of taxation without representation and that sort of thing, right? And constantly I hear conservatives complain about God being taken out of schools and the Christian ideals being taken out of our government. And I get where they're coming from, and I understand, and I get the problems you have with that. My problems are that we're not allowed to pray in school, but we're allowed to talk about other religions. Like, I remember very distinctly being taught things about Muslims and, like Arab culture and that kind of thing. And I vaguely remember practicing some like Jewish type things when I was very young, singing the songs and stuff, but we never sang like Christian songs. And it's kind of like we went from having Christian ideals and schools and stuff to like the opposite. And I think there needs to be some ground in the middle. Like, don't punish a student for praying, despite what God he's praying to. Right? Does it make sense? So my issue with conservatives is that they really want freedom, but they want their freedom. And that's not what America was founded on. America was not founded so people could practice your religion. America was founded so people can practice their religion. That's the whole point. That's why people come to America, so they can feel free to choose, they can vote, they can talk about, they can pray to whoever and whatever they want. They can build a cow, they can build a statue and pray to that if they want to. So my issues is that conservatives focus a lot on who they vote for based on who that person prays to. And if they're going to bring Christian ideologies into government. Now keep in mind, I am not opposed. Okay, if a Christian, like let's say if the next president was super Christian, Cooper, quit. Sorry, my dog, of course, when I go live, starts getting up. He was literally just napping and starts squeaking a toy. It's like he knows when I go live. Every time. We need to have a segment on the show where it's when Cooper comes onto the microphone and starts squeaking a toy. Sorry if I yelled that into you guys' ears. But where was I going with this? Oh, yeah. I would not totally hate if let's say like a president was elected and he wanted to implement Christian ideologies into government. See, I have no problems with that as far as like how I view, government how I view religion. However, I do have a problem with somebody having the power to do that. Okay? Because conservatives, you need to understand freedom and power work on both ends. If you have the power to get elected into office and start to implement Christian or your religion's ideology into government, then the next person who gets voted in has that same power, and that person might not align with your ideology. Does that make sense? So if, let's say you're a Christian, you vote someone in the office who's Christian, but then the next time, and they win and you're happy and they start implementing all these Christian ideals in the government and the policy into schools and that kind of thing, then if the next person goes in that, let's just say that they're Muslim and they start implementing things from the Quran, you would not be too happy, would you? You need to understand that power and freedom work on both spectrums. If somebody has the freedom and the power to do the thing that you like, somebody has the freedom and the power to do something that you hate. You need to understand that freedom is a double-edged sword, and if you really want to keep freedom, you really want to keep a true democracy, you really want to keep America, you're going to have to accept that people are going to do things that you don't agree with. Things like abortion, things like drugs, things like not going to church on Sunday. Okay? And keep in mind, I have said on the show that I used to be anti-drugs completely, but now I'm still the anti-use of drugs, but I don't think this war on drugs is working. I think we need to go a different route, because I think all drugs should be legal. Here's why. One, as conservatives would say about any other topic, we live in America, so leave my drugs and leave my church alone. But yet, they want to say that person, so-and-so in their own house can't do drugs. And I don't feel like that's the same thing. Like I said earlier, people came to America to practice their religion, not practice your religion. America is about practicing everyone's freedoms, not your freedoms, not what you deem to be free or not. And the conservatives will go on this attack towards the left because the left wants to censor speech and censor things on the internet and force you to get vaccinated and force you to do this and force you to do that. Which is, I'm anti those things. I'm anti censoring people. I'm anti look, this is going to sound really bad, but I feel like if somebody's even saying some blatantly racist things, you need to let them talk, because the only way to correct bad speech is with good speech. Let them show their ignorance and stupidity by saying some racist things, and let them cut down their own platform. But the minute you start censoring people, two things kind of start to happen. One, you empower, not give them power. You empower that person who is censored. And then two, you kind of get like an overcorrection by the people who aren't censored, and there is no like correction or conversation happening. Does that make sense? So, conservatives, freedom is a double-edged sword. Okay? When continuing the conversation about drugs is, I think all drugs should be legal. The war on drugs isn't working. So conservatives need to realize that if you don't want people to do drugs, making them illegal isn't the solution. And you might say, well, John, how do you know that? Well, just look at the data. More people do drugs now than ever. When I say drugs, I mean illegal drugs, because now marijuana is legal. And I like the way, I don't like the way California does a lot of things, but I do like the way California made marijuana legal, because there's a couple things here. One thing is that there's no drug dealers dealing marijuana specifically. There are drug dealers around, but there's no person dealing marijuana on the corner of my street. There's no sketchy drug deals over marijuana happening when like good people smoke marijuana. That's just a fact. I don't smoke weed. I wish that you didn't have to smoke weed to escape whatever to try to find some euphoria. But I want to be able to support your decision and let you have the freedom to smoke weed if you would like to. Does it make sense? That's coming from someone who I don't drink. I used to drink. I don't drink anymore. I've never done drugs, but I feel like if you have the freedom to be able to drink alcohol and get drunk and walk around the streets, then you should be able to smoke weed. And I think that we need to have, expectations of like, be mature about things and like don't be hitting lines of cocaine on the public bar, like do it at home. We don't let people smoke inside anymore. I feel like if you gave marijuana the same sort of like respect for other people who do, okay, look, because the thing with smoking is that a lot of the rules about smoking kind of came out of when people like smoked less. A lot of the rules about like where you could smoke was for everybody else who didn't smoke, like no smoking in a bar, right? I remember when you can go to a restaurant and you'd say, "Can I get a table for 4?" They would ask you smoking or non-smoking. Now you can't smoke in a restaurant. I feel like if we treated kind of marijuana the same and throw vaping in that category, because vaping is the most obnoxious thing. It's so annoying. And vaping is, I've said this years ago. People didn't, I'm going on a tangent, but I said this years ago, but vaping is going to be worse in the long term for people than smoking, because not because of the actual vape itself. Let's say even if you were vaping with like almost no nicotine, the thing is you can do it anytime, anywhere, and nobody has any qualms about it. The thing is with smoking a cigarette is that you have to like, it's like a whole bit, right? You have to like go outside, you have to find a lighter, you have to light the cigarette, you have to smoke it, and then when that cigarette's done, it's over, and you kind of have like okay, I smoked a cigarette. With vaping, it's just you fill up that juice in that little like queef chimney pin thing, and you just suck on it all day, and you can refill the liquid, and you can be inside, and it kind of smells good to most people, and it's just, you're going to be able to do it all the time, and you're just going to be living in that thing. Okay, that's my take on that. But freedom is a double-edged sword. If you want people to, okay, so abortion is a whole different thing. We can talk about that in another episode, or if somebody chimes in and wants me to address it, I can. I'm not saying I want people to get abortions, but I do understand that there's situations when people might have to get an abortion, and also I'm a little, at this very moment in time, somebody feel free to comment, message me, whatever. What the Bible says about when life happens is it doesn't directly line up with what people on the right are saying when life happens. Okay? I personally, like, okay, as a Christian, I believe that life begins when there's like, when you can say that there's life. Does it make sense? When a couple have sex, that's literally not when, that's not when life happens. Because if that's the case, then you would say that like the plan B isn't a form of an abortion, the plan B pill, and it's definitely not. You're not killing a baby when you take a plan B pill. I've read the Bible, and I don't know what conservatives are pushing as when life happens. Look, when there's a heartbeat, to me, that is for sure there's life. As far as before heartbeat, I don't know. I'm still torn, okay? And that's part of being an American, is I can think about these things, and I have the freedom to be undecided. Okay? And I'm probably gonna get thrashed by my fellow Christians about what I just said, but hey, this is America, so I have the freedom to think about those things and talk about these things publicly. And you have the freedom to message me. You have the freedom to tag me in a post and explain why I'm wrong, and turn me into a sign and say I'm pro-abortion and I'm anti-baby rights or whatever. You have the freedom to do those things. See, freedom, you have to, if you want true freedom in this country, you have to understand that other people need their freedom as well. Because if you start fighting against other people's freedom, like whether they can do drugs or whether they can get abortion or whether they can, you know, do certain things or can't do certain things, then they're going to go after your freedoms, saying you have to get vaccinated or you can't work and you have to wear a mask and you're going to be censored. Sorry, there's this thing on my arm and I don't know what it is, but I just popped it. Kind of gross. Sorry, TMI. So I'm titling this A Message to Conservatives, or I thought about titling it Freedom is a Double-Edged Sword. But I mainly am just concerned that conservatives don't seem to understand that, and you will never get what you want if you're not willing to compromise. And it's called compromise for a reason. Both sides during a compromise are giving up something that makes you unhappy, but the end result makes you happy, kind of. You know what I'm saying? That's not like the exact definition of a compromise, but you guys get what I'm saying. Okay. The compromise would look like this. Conservatives say, you know what? I can't tell you that you have to talk about Jesus in school. I can't tell you that you have to let my kid, or I can't tell you that you can't talk about other religions in school. But the other side will say, well, okay, we can talk about whatever we want to talk about, but that means that you're also allowed to pray in school, to have your Christian clubs, to be able to say under God and the anthem, the national anthem. I mean the Pledge of Allegiance, sorry. I think that the other side, the anti-conservatives or the liberals, need to understand that this country was founded on Christian ideologies, and you need to probably respect that. You need to respect that this country was founded. Okay, and I just had the vision in my head that of this meme that I saw of these this. Okay, can we stop this? Like, we took this land from Native Americans. Sure, we did. Okay, or not we. Our ancestors did. Europeans did, but we all live here. We all live here, despite your skin color. We all live here. And if you were that upset about it, you would leave and you would give it back. This is how the world works. This has happened on every piece of land that is modernized today. People live in an area. Other people with bigger guns and a better military come and conquer that land. That land becomes and belongs to the new victor. At one point, all of the world, all the known world was pretty much owned by Britain, because they came in and they conquered. Then the people rose up and they fought back and they got their land back. The Native Americans didn't do that. Okay? Look, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm just saying that is how the world worked, and it works. And we didn't come in and my dad and my dad's dad and myself, we didn't go around shooting Native Americans. We didn't go around stealing their land. Okay. But look up a little history, understand that that's how the world worked back then. And I'm not saying that Christopher Columbus was some golden age person, but when Thanksgiving comes around, don't get on some high horse and say, this is not right because we stole this land, and Thanksgiving is racist and xenophobic and blah blah. Like, if you have that much problem with it, move somewhere else. Go back to where we came from. Go back to Europe. You probably don't want to, because Europe is kind of falling apart right now. Have you seen what's happening in Australia? That's a Commonwealth country. If you think what's happening in Australia right now won't happen in anywhere in the UK, you're wrong. Okay. Anyways. In conclusion, conservatives, you need to rethink your strategy on how to keep your freedom by giving other people their freedom. Freedom is a double-edged sword. So if you restrict other people's freedom, or give the power to restrict other people's freedom, they will have their power to restrict your freedom. At the end of the day, there is a separation of church and state for a reason. That reason is because I don't want Joe Biden technically is Catholic, so I want to be able to follow Jesus as Biden does, but I don't want to be forced to follow Muhammad or whoever or the Buddha for the next person that gets elected and who might not be a Christian. Conservatives, rethink your strategy. And to the people on the left, I apologize that you are getting attacked by conservatives who call you heathens and call you really mean things just because you walk into an abortion clinic or you walk into a store to buy marijuana or because you have piercings on your face. I have tattoos. I have pretty much a whole sleeve. It's not like a full sleeve, but it's pretty much a full sleeve. There are conservatives who will attack me for it. I have been kind of not like attacked, but I've been kind of shunned a little bit by some people because of my tattoos. Even though I'm a Christian, I'm a veteran, and on the surface, like Christian, United States Marine Corps veterans, served 5 years, like most conservatives would on paper support me or whatever, but then they hear these things that I have to say. Like I'm talking about the far, far right, like the really closed down conservatives. They will begin to shun me because of how I look or the things I say. And so I'm not saying I've been oppressed or anything. I'm just saying I have a taste of what you guys go through, but it's not as bad as, people who aren't Christian that don't want to go to church. Okay? I get it. And I want you to know that those people that slander you, those people that attack you, those people that call you names, those people who call you murderers because you get an abortion, that's not Jesus. That is not Christians. That is not Christianity. And I apologize for humans hurting you that way. That's humanity. That is not Jesus. And I apologize. Conservatives, you got to do better. I vote Republican for most things. For 99% of the things, I vote to the right. I don't vote libertarianism because at this point, I mean for president, I don't, at least. I vote libertarianism for other things. But as far as president goes, yes, I vote for the right because, quite frankly, at this point in time in our climate, a libertarianism or a third party will not win. So I don't vote for them because that's a waste of my vote, and that gives the left or the Democratic people more votes or a broader margin of votes. So I don't take a stand I don't take an illogical stand. If you vote libertarianism because you think that that's how we should vote, well, you're taking an illogical stand and you're giving the left more votes. Okay? We need to have more traction as far as a third party in order to actually vote third party to make a difference, because at that point you're not making a difference. You're giving more power to the left. Just a little tidbit of information. And the left knows that. So the left kind of wants you to vote third party because that gives them more margin. Imagine all the people who voted for Joe Jorgensen for this last election. If all those people voted for Trump, the election would have been a lot closer. Okay, just think about that. All right, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. I hope you guys stayed along this long for the journey. And if you have, thank you. And if you haven't liked or comment or followed on any of the platforms by now, then you need to do so, because we do more episodes similar to this. We talk about all sorts of topics. I have 2 guests lined up. Okay. I want to have a buddy of mine on here first. I don't want to say his name. I don't want to say what we're going to talk about yet because I want to make it a promo thing. But if, like I said before, make sure you like, comment, follow any of the platforms. I appreciate you guys stopping in, and make sure you tell your friends. That's the biggest way you can support the show, is by sharing this with your friends. Share this episode with people who may need to hear it. People on the left, people on the right, people like me. Or, you can post about it on your social media platforms, okay? And if you're listening to this, if you've missed the show live, you're coming in late, you can listen to the whole podcast live, whether you go to anchor.fm/live show or look us up on Spotify or Google Podcasts or whatever. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys stopping in. Until next time, catch y'all on the flippity flip. Peace. Welcome.